Well, good Sunday morning, everyone, and thank you for watching Beyond the Headlines. Well, the state of the city, a reflection on the past year and the coming year that was in the Gateway City. Now, in front of a crowd of Laredoans, the mayor delivered the message on the city's behalf. Mayor Trevino took to the stage last Thursday to give his annual address. The mayor began by highlighting the unique bond between Laredo and Nuevo Laredo and the importance of keeping the binational partnerships between the two cities. The mayor also touched on water infrastructure and the issues it's faced over the last year. He said his administration has made several corrections and reprioritizing of projects to help build a stronger infrastructure to deliver safe water to Laredoans. And here with us to review the state of the city and the city's plans for the future is City Manager Joe Nebb. Also joining us in this morning's discussion is KGNS General Manager Luis Villarreal. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year, Mr. Nebb.
Happy
Appreciate
New Year.
having you with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So last Thursday, State of the City address. Tell us what your thoughts are on that, and then we'll talk about the past, and then we'll talk about the future.
Certainly. I think, you know, the mayor's words were, as he expressed himself, was, we've been busy. And there's been a lot of things happening. And I said it at the State of the City. We're about our relationships. We're about the collaboration. We're about the cooperation between entities and everything. And we talk a little bit, the mayor talked a little bit about Nuevo Laredo and Laredo being that sister cities and being one family. And so as we walk through that, you know, we talked about the projects that we've accomplished and what we've prepared for. We've got a really busy year ahead of us. I think that's what the mayor was expressing, and I think that was all that work that we've been putting together. We're going to be really, really active, and this city council is very aggressive in trying to do the best they can for the city.
Mm-hmm. The water.
Yes, sir. We're going to start off with water.
Let's talk about water. You know, I mean, obviously, there's the water boils and the pipe breaks and all that stuff, and it gets a lot of attention, and then as problems get addressed, then it kind of goes down. Is water infrastructure front and center for your administration?
You know, with our incumbents that were reelected into office and everything, you heard that in their congratulatory speeches as well too. Is that infrastructure is so important, and I would tell you that almost all of our infrastructure, water, bridges, it doesn't really matter, streets, it is all going to be front and center of everything that we're accomplishing. Water, you know, we had 8 boil water notices in 5 years. Yep. And the worst one was a few years ago, and it was 63 days of that boil water notice. At that point in time, though, the city undertook some really big plant expansions and did a lot of improvements on the plants. That helped correct the problem of that boil water notice. What we saw last year was a boil water notice that actually happened in the field. Right. And it was caused by old infrastructure. We believe that there were illegal connections on that. And in the State of the City last night, there was a presentation that we talked about. Almost 362 illegal connections or cross connections were found during this investigation of the boil water notice. And the nice thing about what the utility department did is that they've addressed every one of those. And so as we take a more proactive nature into our system, I think we're going to be able to hold that a lot better in check. So that, and the mayor alluded to that, is that over 30% of our lines are 40 to 50 years old. Right. And they need to be replaced. And I think that's that next progression of our utility.
But it takes a lot of money to do that.
It takes a lot of money. Some of the early estimates was about $136 million to replace just those lines that we've identified. What's been really appreciative within Laredo, though, is that Laredo has put together all these plans. I mean, there is plan after plan. I think what we've challenged ourselves with, and where we've not met all the expectations of what our people are, is that we've not kept the focus on that project because there's so many needs of the city. Our focus shifts, and so the intent is to keep that focus on there. I think Congressman Cuellar and the federal government help us with the $20 million influx as well too. We're going to start being able to replace that. The utility department right now is in the progression of putting together some very significant RFPs and plans in order to get this process started this year.
Let's talk a little bit about funding. Were you all going to go out for a bond election this coming March,
Yes.
or what was the plan for that?
As Laredo is a growing city, and our taxes always come in arrears, right? And for me as a financial manager, as a city manager, I convert taxes, I convert use fees, I convert everything to cash. And then we try to provide the services that we need for that. And so the bond referendum is a reflection of a city that's growing faster and trying to provide the services and the needs for that. So we are getting ready. The weather, the cold weather this week caused us to move the council meeting to next week, but that'll be the first blush that we have with the bond referendum committee that's been meeting for the last 4 months. And we'll be putting forward a series of projects, capital projects, to the public for a vote. To determine if there's a value to that work. Everything from public safety, public infrastructure. We have some quality of life. We have public health. And there's a big series of that. I would say that the estimates from the bond referendum committee that we put together, city management, we're looking right around $600 million worth of projects to try to incorporate within the next 10 years. And I think that as the council looks at that, we're hoping to do it in the May election of this year.
Okay.
And that means the council has to act upon whatever we're going to put forward to the people by February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So.
And I would imagine there's, like you just said, there's a lot of projects that you're going to be touching on with that $600 million or so. What are some of the most important priorities that you see?
Well, we'll start with public safety, that being a big one. And I think that because we are a growing city, we're 3 fire stations down right now from what we need in order to insulate our entire community from.
So we're short 3 fire stations?
We're short 3 fire stations because of our growth and the expansion of what's been happening with the city. Now, the city is underway with at least one of them right now. I think we're building one right now. We've already got the people being trained because it takes almost 2 years to get our firefighters up to credentials and everything. So they're all in the process and everything, but we are looking at trying to get the remainder of those stations up there. The nice thing that happened last year as well too is that, and the mayor recognized it in the state of the city, is that we reached an ISO rating of 1, which is the best ISO rating, the insurance service rating, and that insurance rating lowers everybody's cost for insurance for their properties and everything. So with the fire department and the police department for that. So when you talk about the bond referendum, public safety is one of those key things. We are looking at possibly almost $275 to $300 million over the next 10 years that our police department needs to get them back in a good position for that movement forward. Public infrastructure is probably the second largest. I don't know if it's any more important. They're all important, right? But we need approximately $30 million a year to go to our street improvements. We have over 900 miles of streets, and there's a life expectancy to all those roads. And of course, with our heavier truck traffic that we have on our roads, the conditions that happen, our roads fail at different levels than what would be normal. And so we are looking at trying to put some funding to the public streets as well too. And then, of course, quality of life is always important to our council.
Let me ask you something that would probably open a can of worms that we could probably spend an hour or more talking about. We are different to a lot of municipalities in that we have an additional source of revenue for us on
Yes,
the
sir.
bridges. Can you explain to a non-managerial city person how that affects us positively or negatively? Where does all that money go? How does it get allocated? as in terms of the operation of the city?
Certainly. So, yeah, we rely heavily upon the bridge revenue in order to subsidize our budget. If you look at San Antonio has an electric utility that actually helps subsidize all of their budget as well too. So every community has those pots of monies that they try to utilize to reduce the impact directly on its citizenry. Okay. And so the bridge revenue is our primary fund that we want to utilize. Now, contrary to some opinions out there, we take care of the bridge first with that money. We're obligated by state law to make sure that we cover all of our expenses associated with why that money comes in. Right. Our other enterprise funds are, of course, utilities, and airport's kind of a special revenue fund, but we take care of those funds first, and then the additional money goes to help offset the other costs. And so I would say about 51% of our general fund budget, which is police, fire, streets, parks and recreation, a lot of our primary core services are funded by that bridge revenue as well as property tax. Okay. Now, the really good thing for Laredo, and the mayor alluded to that last night in the State of the City, is that we have reduced our property tax rate for the last 23 years. The property tax rate has been going down, and I think it's because of the strength of our. Yeah,
but the appraisal district keeps raising the value, so.
There's a difficult balance, right? Right. And yeah, there's the value, and I guess I do like that property values are based upon market value, right? Agreed. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me as well too. But what I like is that when you have a resource like these bridges, and we have 4 bridges. We're the only city that has bridges in 2 states of Mexico, and we have I think 4 interstates into our sector. I think that's why they're the #1 port of entry, and I think that is something that the mayor alluded to last night as well too, is to continue to build on that. But that helps offset those costs to our citizens as well too, and it's the bridges are a blessing and a curse because they bring a lot of additional traffic, but if we utilize it wisely, our people should benefit from that as well. Right.
Before we let you go, I have one question in regard to quality of life.
Yes, sir.
Are the Tecos going to play again here this year?
Yes, sir.
They are.
Yes, sir. The Tecos are going there. We're right at the tail end. I'm hoping that we can have something really good to say next week. Okay. We are looking at a longer-term contract. We've had really good conversations with our management company as well as the Tecolotes, and so yes.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to it.
We're family, all right? And we will make sure that they are here.
Okay.
Okie doke. Well, we had some questions from viewers, but we're going to have to save them for the next time. So you've got to come back, Mr. Neb.
I'm happy to come back. The last time I was here was a year ago, so I'm happy to come back if you need me.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Mr. Neb. Appreciate having you with us. And when we come back, a new president and a new era in our nation's capital. Donald Trump is sworn in for his 2nd term, kicking off a whirlwind week. We are taking a look at how his decisions are already impacting the border. Stay with us. Well, there's a new resident on Pennsylvania Avenue. Last Monday, Donald Trump was sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, with J.D. Vance as vice president. In his inaugural address, President Trump pledged a golden age for the country. He also reiterated many of his campaign promises, including restoring the American dream and dismantling woke culture. Following the ceremony, President Trump promptly signed several executive orders to implement his America First agenda. Among these actions, he declared a national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border, declared cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and ended the CBP One program. Additionally, he signed an executive order aiming to end birthright citizens for children of undocumented immigrants, though this move faced immediate legal challenges. In anticipation, Mexican authorities have even started to build tent shelters along the border, including our sister city of Nuevo Laredo. And that's where we continue this week's discussion, now joined joined by former Webb County Republican Chair and KGNS contributor, Luis de la Garza. Thank you, Luis, so much for coming back, because I know you joined us a few months back. We appreciate that you came back.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So,
how does it feel?
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I think this is the beginning of a new era. I think that promises made are promises being kept. And I think that's important to the people to feel the confidence of our nation moving forward. So I'm optimistic about many good things that were going to be happening, and I think the citizens are going to benefit from all these changes that we're about to see.
Is there anything that concerns you?
Anything that concerns me? The border wall. The border wall is a very big issue, and the mass deportation they go hand in hand.
And they concern you because of what it would take to get them done?
Yes,
or?
because of the magnitude of the project in itself. We need the border wall. We need to set up the wall to show that we are a nation of law and order, and that we're not just going to be allowing anybody into our country.
You think it's a physical wall that is needed?
A physical wall is part of it, because you can also have a electronic wall that also does very well. And so it's a combination of things that is required. The mass deportation part of it in itself, you need manpower. And obviously our agencies have been depleted somewhat over the last few years because of the low morale, and they weren't letting them do their jobs. The Border Patrol, the ICE, all the agencies. So I find that building that back up again, just like building up our military, is going to be very important. But I think by doing and taking those steps, we're going to see the nation move forward. And I think that's going to be important, that we show that we are in the lead. We are number one once again.
Let me ask you, Luis,
Yes.
you've been a supporter of Donald Trump since the beginning, when he first started running for election. What are some of the things that might concern you about him? I mean, I know that it's been talked about a lot this past week, the pardoning of the January 6th rioters,
Right.
Do you think that Donald Trump is a little too extreme at times?
Well, when you invade something, or you break something, or you hurt somebody, there needs to be a consequence, and I think that most of the people that were pardoned did not meet that criteria of hurting people or breaking things. Therefore, I think we're unjustly over penalized. And so I feel that these people were let go, and they should have been let go.
But if I hear you correctly, because I agree with this, I mean, people that broke the law, people that physically assaulted police officers, people that destroyed property and things like that, it was my understanding that all of these people were included in the pardon.
Because it was a blanket pardon. All 1,500 were pardoned.
I think we need to revisit that, because I don't think that everybody was pardoned just across the board. There were some people that were held back, and I don't know to what extent, to tell you the truth, but I do know that there were some people that were held back by what I understand and the information that I've received.
But staying with the question, Mindy, that you asked about the extremism or whatever. Listen, at the end of the day, to me, just as it happened in the first time President Trump came into office, one of the refreshing things, and this is not as a supporter of Trump as it is more of a politician made some promises and he's trying to keep them, right? That's refreshing.
Yes.
Or refreshing. Refreshing. Because a lot of the time politicians make promises and then
they don't follow through.
So
Correct.
we should not be surprised that he's trying to keep the promises that he made. However, one of my issues is that in partisan politics, we are supposed to question our leaders.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We should, this man or any other man should not have blanket authority from all of us that we agree with everything he says. Yeah. I think we have a right to question some things whenever we feel that they need to be questioned. I think that the perception that this next 2 years of power in the House and power in the Senate and power in the White House needs to go checked. It cannot go unchecked. Somebody needs to be able to ask questions and determine whether things need to be done in a particular way or another. And sometimes I believe that partisanship goes above that, and we decide that, hey, you know, as Republicans, we need to stand behind everything.
No. I think we've seen that. I think we're seeing that more and more. It's being questioned. We need to have the checks and balances. Even within our own party, things are being questioned. And there's no blanket pass
through, you know, let's just sign everything.
Just sign. And I think we're starting to see them in the hearings that we're having right now with all the nominations that are being questioned, and we want to make sure that we have the right person with the right credentials to be in the position that they're supposed to be. I'm hoping that if all the candidates, all the nominees that the president selected have the good credentials and have the good qualifications to be there, because he feels that that's going to be helping the country move forward. And if they're not qualified, don't have the credentials, you're out.
You know, and speaking of that, I mean, there's a lot of talk about how a lot of the nominations that he has submitted aren't your typical politician, established, you know, folks. These are people that are coming from the entertainment industry, from different industries, you know, like Elon Musk, you know, he's never served in politics ever. And there's many others like him that have been nominated. Do you think that they could do the job that an established politician who's grown up in the world
I would
could
love
do?
to answer that one if you let me.
It's
like, how's it gone for us so far? I mean, it's like, listen, at some point we need to try different things and bring different people
You think
in.
that that's what he's doing? You think he's just trying to do, thinking out of the box and trying to do something different?
I think that's what he's done since he came into the picture. I think that he's tried to, I'm not saying that everything he's doing is right or wrong. All I'm saying is, we have been doing things a certain way for a long time.
many years, and it hasn't worked.
And it hasn't been working, and we keep getting deeper in debt and deeper in trouble and deeper in all these things, and we all want to just keep doing the same thing. I'm not saying, I don't know if it's going to work.
Well, but it's worth a try.
I think it is.
Because we have businessmen who are very successful, you know, in all areas of industry, and they can bring that knowledge into the government, which is, I mean, our government is so fat. And there's so much pork in it, you know. We need to trim it. We need to bring it down. We need to get rid of a lot of debt weight.
And it's going to hurt. Because it's going to hurt. It's got to hurt. Because if you're going to cut fat, that fat's going to be in pain.
But you see, we have to have all the everything in place for it to even though we cut, we have an outlet for all these people to go. And I think that's the business mindset and the mentality that is required to move our nation forward. You know, and I have to agree with you that we have to try something new and something different, because we've done for so long so much of the same. It hasn't been very successful. Thank God we're such a huge nation that we're able to tolerate a lot of the losses and everything. But, you know, and one of the main things that we need to do is address our debt. There's no question about that. We do not address our debt, we are all going to be in serious trouble. And regardless of what Trump does, we're going to fail. So we need to address the national debt.
Okie doke. Well, on that note, we'll see what happens over the next 4 years.
Okay.
We'll see if we've got change.
I think it'll be a lot quicker than 4 years, but yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Luis, thank you so much for joining us.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
having your perspective with us.
I'm glad to be here, and anytime we'll be happy to join you all.
Awesome.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And stay with us. We'll be right back with the one thing that we cannot stop thinking about. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Well, it's the one thing that our panelists cannot stop thinking about, and Luis has one, and we are all going to join in on his.
So I came across this thing about words that are often mispronounced in our language. Is it pecan or pecan?
Pecan.
Gyro or gyro?
Gyro.
It's gyro.
No? Oh.
Forte or fort?
Forte.
Forte.
It's fort.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Et cetera or et cetera?
Et cetera.
With a T, not with an X. Realtor or realtor?
Oh, Luis, you can take this one.
Realtor.
Realtor.
Realtor,
All right,
okay.
so here's another one. Sherbet or sherbet?
Sherbet.
Sherbet.
Sherbet
No
ice cream.
R.
What?
Sherbet. Yep.
It's French.
Often or often?
Often.
Often.
Often. What?
No T.
Yes.
Okay, we're failing this one.
February or February? This one, Mindy?
February. Supposedly.
Or?
Supposedly?
Yeah,
I don't know.
supposedly with a D.
Supposedly with a D. Okay.
Espresso or espresso?
Espresso.
Espresso. Oh, it's not espresso.
Is it espresso? Pronunciation or pronunciation? It's not pronunciation.
I don't know.
Nuclear,
Pronunciation.
It's pronunciation. Anyway, I just...
Wow, okay.
I don't even know how to do that one, so I'll let you do that.
Well, the other day I got called out on Facebook because I mispronounced the word question. So I want to hear how you guys say question.
Question.
I say question.
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 Yes.
Question.
Okay.
I don't know. It's
I
question.
don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, but I say question, but...
We have a South Texas accent.
Well,
Okay, that's my excuse. I love it. Well, thank you, gentlemen, of course. You know, Luis, obviously, and Luis, our
you.
double
Good
Luis is here. Appreciate y'all being with us for this edition of Beyond the Headlines. Make sure to join us next Sunday for another issue of Beyond the Headlines. Until then, enjoy your week.